this video, I'll be replacing the end links on a 2010 Ford Escape. This is a 6-cylinder. I'm not sure if there are any size differences in the hardware between 6-cylinder and 4-cylinder models, but it's all the same geometry, so this will work for any second-gen Ford Escape, Mercury Mariner, or Mazda Tribute. But like I said, just make sure the sizes are the same if you have a 4-cylinder versus this being the 6. Diagnosing end links can be a little tricky. The best way to think about it is they make noise when your sway bar is doing work. So your sway bar isn't really doing anything when you hit a bump. Your sway bar is trying to keep your car level. So if you hit a surface change like going into a driveway or something like that, that's when your car is trying to stay level, your sway bar is doing work, and you might get a little clunk from the front end. I don't typically say to throw parts at something. I like to diagnose and replace, but end links are cheap enough and easy enough to replace that it's a great place to start, and if that doesn't solve the problem, then it's probably your outer tie rod. In many cases, it can be both. You replace one, and then part of the noise goes away, but another noise is still there, and you replace the other one, and then the noise goes away entirely, and your front end is operating like it should. If you're about to do this job, I'm sure you know all about jacking up the car and safely supporting it with jack stands, so let's go over what you'll need to get this job done. End links. I went with Moogs because I've had great luck with them on every American car I've owned, and these have the Zerk fitting so I can lubricate them unlike the OEM units. So if you go with these, also make sure you have a grease gun. 19mm socket, 14mm socket, 14mm wrench, 17mm wrench, 15mm socket, 15mm wrench, 18 or 11/16, and a ratchet or impact gun. The reason for double the wrenches and sockets is because the Moog end links and the OEM end links don't have the same size hardware. With a 19mm socket, remove the lug nuts. Remember that if you don't have an impact gun, you have to loosen them before you lift the car. The stock end link has a 14mm nut holding it on, and I couldn't get a socket back there, which is why I'm using the wrench. You need a 17mm to hold the stud to keep it from spinning. The top one, same size, but you can get that with an impact gun or a ratchet and socket. Always compare the old parts and the new parts, and as you can see here, this one is really worn. So you can see how loose that joint is, how easily I can move it around. The new ones should be really stiff. Even after you lubricate it, it should be really stiff like this. So once you get the end links off, that's an easy way to tell if they're worn or not. I typically grease the fittings once they're on the car, but I just wanted to show you guys here, if you're doing it, it's really simple. You just plug the grease gun right on. Mine's a manual one, so you just pull the trigger a couple times and fill it until the grease comes out. Again, not every end link has a Zerk fitting, and personally I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to buying one or the other, but these Moogs have a lifetime warranty, and so if all I have to do is grease them occasionally and I can get them replaced for free when they fail, that's fine with me. Remember that they don't come greased though, so if you install them and you don't grease them and they fail, you're going to void your warranty. The installation of the new end link is just the reverse of the removal, and remember these Moogs are different sizes, so if you go the Moog route, you'll need an 18mm or 11/16 to hold the stud, and then it's a 15mm nut. End links don't have a torque spec, but you definitely don't want to over tighten them because they can fail prematurely that way. So if you are using an impact gun, make sure you've got it on a low setting, or you know how much power it's outputting and that you're not going to crank them too tight. If you're doing it by hand, just snug them up real good and make sure they're tight and not going anywhere. If you have any questions about the installation, just leave it in the comments. I do my best to answer everybody. As far as diagnostics go, I'll help as much as I can, but there's only so much two people can do over a comment section on YouTube. There's a lot of different parts that make a lot of different noises in the front end of your car, and my best advice to you is to get the car in the air, take a wheel off, and see if you can reproduce the noise or isolate that noise that you're hearing. The other thing to keep in mind is the general lifespan of a part. This car is in a suburban area, 95% paved roads, but it has 100,000 miles on it, so the end links are worn, they're tired, and it's time to replace them. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this video was helpful, and don't forget to subscribe.